Alright, so today we're going to do a quick test of the Ryobi 40 volt Leaf Vac system. This is also known as a Vac Attack leaf mulcher. So here's what the system looks like. This is a rather large device. Definitely, I mean, you can hold it with one hand. You could probably fit a sling. It looks like it's got some places to do that if you want. Keep it over your shoulder. It's not too heavy. It has a removable bag at the bottom that clips on. It has a zipper front, so when the bag is full, you take it and you dump it out. It uses the 40 volt battery. And we're going to do some testing. It is currently in April in the Northeast, so we still have some maple leaves all around that blew up over the winter and with the spring. So I'm going to go to a couple of areas and just try vacuuming them up with this, not raking them out ahead of time. This isn't for, mulching big piles of leaves. We specifically got this for smaller flower beds, kind of hard to reach areas. Maybe you don't want to damage stuff when you're raking it out. So I'm going to bring this around and do some tests and a couple of spots. So we're going to start over here where we have some dry maple branches, little bits and twigs off the trees, and some leaves that just kind of gathered over. It's got two settings, or three. It's got low, medium, and high. So we'll start with medium and we'll see how it does. So it's got a little bit of stuff there. It's certainly not the strongest thing in the world. Try to get a good angle over here. I'll do a slightly more. We have some more mixed leaves, a little bit of grass mixed in. This is not really for mulching branches. Some smaller twigs you can do, but we'll try it on medium and then I'll jump up to high. Just switching it up to high, we'll see how good it does sucking some of these leaves out of the grass. The grass is not too tall right now. So I can tell you right now, what I'm already seeing is some of these oak leaves. You got the little stem and it's caught in with the grass. It's really not that great at pulling it out. It really is a vacuum. And as an open vacuum on grass and stuff, it doesn't do all that great. Let's find another spot and do some more testing. So here's a good example that I wanted to show. I'll get in a little bit closer so you can see. This is a mixed bed. We have a lilac in here. We already have some spring growth coming in. And obviously we have leaves stuck in there. And it's hard with all these little twiggies and stuff to get in there and rake. You don't want to destroy stuff. And it's kind of hard. You could spend an hour or 2 hours in there by hand. So let's try it. I'm going to do it on high. See how good we pull these things out. not that great, I'll be honest. The bag blows up, or fills up with the air as it's getting filled, and it's starting to feel heavy. There's definitely getting to be a little bit of weight in there, and I'll open this up at the end. But it just gets heavier over time. I mean, it's got a hard piece on the bottom. I guess if you're dragging it across the ground to save the bag. I want to find a couple other areas just to kind of give it a fair test. Let's try the trenches on the driveway. All right, so here's another scenario. We have these trenches on the side of the driveway. After we clean them out in the fall, more leaves fell and they get in there. Let's see how this does at cleaning some of those out without raking first. All right, so two things I've noticed. If you have more leaves packed together, it's mostly just leaves. This does a little bit better, especially if they're not wet and packed down. Once you start getting into the stuff that's packed down and really matted together, it's a little harder for this to suck it up, but it definitely does better in areas where there's not a lot of vegetation or whatever holding onto the leaves. I'm going to try to get one more flower bed type demonstration in. Okay, so here's a good example. You get leaves that come in and kind of get stuck on the edge of the house. We also have some gravel here to help with the rain flow off the roof. You start to rake, you start pulling all the gravel away. Let's see how this does pulling the leaves away from the rocks without pulling up rocks. All right, so let's take this off and see how we did. For the demonstration purposes, after that first time, I've kept this on high. I'm not really sure where the low setting will come in handy. So to disconnect the bag down here, you have a plastic lever. And then the other side is just a clip. It works off. There's your chute that goes in underneath. Well, let me unzip it just so we can see how much we actually picked up during that short demonstration. That's most of it. So we didn't really do a lot, and as you can see, some of the leaves have picked up whole, or just about whole. A lot of big chunks. Some of the smaller stuff it did, you know, mulch up, but this is really not for making a fine mulch. The idea is just to kind of suck it up into the machine, do a small chop just to make more space in the bag. In the fall, after we got it, I did a lot more testing, and you can fill the bag up. You have fresh leaves coming off the trees, they're dry. That's the important thing. You can fill the bag up pretty quick, but there's no end to trees, I mean, or to leaves. As you can see, we have quite a few trees around here. Again, this is April, so they've only just started getting buds on them. But I want to see how this did in the spring with some cleanup after the leaves kind of got old, you know, sat in the grass a little bit. You know, maybe you can still have some wet spots and a lot of it's packed down. And I gotta tell you, not so great. I really think this is more for like bulk collection. Like maybe you get a bunch of leaves in the corner of the house. Maybe you're tired after raking leaves. You just kind of want to, you know, suck them up into an area without having to rake and bend down and pick them up. So for small jobs like that, with ideal conditions, it works okay. To be honest, what we were looking for was, because we have so many leaves, I wanted to look at an electric version for a leaf chopper. Years and years ago, we used to have a big shredder chipper. Not big, but it was a gas-powered engine. And it was okay, but it took forever to do the leaves and stuff. So I wanted to see how, you know, years later the technology was something a little more portable. I was not expecting a lot. And like I said, for certain applications, I think this is okay. You have some flower beds, especially in the fall. Maybe you don't want to rake stuff yet. You still have some, you know, growth down there. Maybe your flower beds or your vegetable beds. You can get this in here, and as long as the leaves are, you know, dry and aren't too worked into the grass or anything, it'll work okay. I'm not going to do a rating scale, but you know, I've definitely used better tools. I've never really used a Leaf Vac, so I can't speak to other systems. And this is kind of doing, you know, two things. It's vacuuming the leaves and it's chopping the leaves. And as such, I think it kind of, you know, does okay on both. But it really is not superior with anything. You know, does the machine have enough power? You know, probably the engine does. I think part of the problem is, you notice on the tube here, you're going for long, you know, a good size of collection, but you're also having a pretty broad area to try to get some kind of suction. And looking down there, I can see there's kind of a leaf stuck in there. You know, I certainly don't expect out of, you know, something that's mostly plastic, you know, to be able to handle a lot of, you know, branches and whatever without, you know, breaking. So this obviously went through, and you see it just kind of broke it, didn't do anything else. Probably have to worry about things getting stuck and lodged in there. You can get the tube off, so you can kind of get into that area to work on it. But that's my take on it. I cannot tell you what I paid for it. I did buy it new. This is not sponsored. This is again, this is a private purchase. So now I've used it in the fall and I've used it in the spring. I'm probably definitely going to keep it for the fall to use, and then maybe if we have some areas to work on, we might try it. But at this point in the spring, I'd rather save my batteries, you know, for the leaf blower to get, you know, stuff out of the areas so I can just, you know, rake it up, and, you know, for the lawnmower and string trimmers and other jobs. But this one, not one of my better purchases. Can't compare it to other items, but anyway, this is a real world use. If anyone in the comments, you know, wants to see me test this under more specific conditions, I'm certainly willing to do that. Otherwise, this is just kind of a general broad view of trying to use it in, you know, some real world conditions. Thanks for watching.